Good evening, and welcome to the 2020 Alex Odeh Virtual Memorial Gala. My name is Gina Schwab, the National ADC Organizing Director, and I will be your MC for this evening. We are doing this tonight live from Washington, D.C. virtually, because this pandemic has changed so many things for us this year. And we really wish that we could be with you all tonight in person, but we all want to make sure that we are all staying safe for our families and our communities. We have such a wonderful lineup of speakers this evening, and we have so much to tell you on everything that we have been doing this past year, specifically with this pandemic that has changed so many things for us as an organization. But we have always been there for you, and we will continue to be there for you, whether we are doing it in person or virtually from our homes and our offices. We know that this pandemic has put a strain on so many different resources, and we are hoping that tonight you will dig deep into your pockets and make sure that you continue to support us financially so that we may continue to do this work that is so needed for our communities. Before we begin the program, I would like to thank our sponsors for the evening: the New Levant Foundation, Jeff Bouchard of Bay Financial Associates, and the Law Office of Howard L. Stovall. We are very, very lucky to have the support of such wonderful organizations and community members that have allowed us to put together this program for you this evening. Our first speaker this evening is going to be Samer Kharaf, President of ADC, with his president remarks for tonight.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this new experience that both us at ADC are going through, and of course, all you at home. First, on behalf of the board, our staff, and myself, I'd like to welcome you to our first ever Alex Odeh Memorial Virtual Gala. Normally, as everybody knows, we usually hold two conferences every year, one in DC in the beginning of the year and one in October in California at the end of the year. Unfortunately, this is where we are. Because of this COVID pandemic that we're now having to deal with, and that actually everyone in the world is dealing with, we are forced to now work virtually. Our staff has been working from home ever since March. Our offices have been closed. But I know that for us, dealing with COVID hasn't been that bad. We haven't felt the effects of some other people in our community, mainly those our frontline workers. Our frontline workers all over the country and all over the world have really been our heroes today. So I would like to thank them on behalf of not just our community, but of our board and our staff. Thank you all to the doctors, the nurses, the caretakers in the homes and whatnot. You guys are our guardian angels. We also recognize that throughout our community and to the world, that COVID has affected people in different ways. Some of us who have contracted the disease have thankfully lived through it and are feeling much better. Others, unfortunately, are still dealing with the ramifications of the COVID, and still other families are dealing with the loss of loved ones due to COVID. So at this time, I'd like all of us just to take out a minute of our time in silence and remembrance of all those that we have lost to COVID. Our hearts and prayers goes out to everyone that has lost a loved one during this pandemic. Even us at ADC have lost some extremely dear friends, and we've lost our community's lost some incredible community leaders. Our prayers are with you all. With that, we're going to start off our convention. We have a lot going on tonight. We have a lot of incredible speakers. Us at ADC, again, like I said, we've had to live through a sort of a new reality. We are no longer doing live events. We've held over 50 online webinars and seminars dealing from all different kinds of topics, from activism in sports to teaching in the pandemic to updates on COVID and whatnot. If you are interested, those seminars can still be viewed. Either go to our Facebook page or go to our YouTube page, and you'll be able to see all those videos. Now, We've also had other situations we're dealing with here at ADC, and because of the financial situations, COVID has really hit our bottom line. We have lost some large funders because of the financial situations. They've told us that they were unable to fund us this year. What that means is that we have to rely more and more on you, our individual members. We have always been a grassroots organization that has relied on our members' donations. Without us, without you, we will not exist. So I'm urging you to give and give as much as you can. It all adds up, whether it's a $5 donation, a $50 donation, or even a $50,000 donation. Every little bit helps. So I urge you throughout this conference and in the future that you please go to our website and donate to ADC. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Samad, for those words. And we do know how much the pandemic has affected our community, but it's amazing how much resilience was born out of this pandemic. We feel extremely lucky to have community members like you, and like Samad said, we hope that you'll be able to dig into your pockets and start a monthly donation or make a one-time donation so that we can continue our work. So without further ado, we're going to go right into our program and go to our first speaker, who is a brilliant actress and comedian, a woman who has made us laugh over the years, someone that a lot of us women have looked up to, who has done such wonderful work on television, advocating not just for Arab Americans, but also disabled Americans. Please help me welcome Maysoon Zayed.
Happy anniversary, ADC. You've come a long way, Habibi. Fun fact, the first organization to ever give me a chance to do stand-up comedy at one of their events was ADC. So I don't think I would actually even have a career if it wasn't for this organization, but that is by far not the most important thing that ADC has done and not the most important thing they are doing. This amazing organization has protected the American Arab community for decades against discrimination, whether it be through law enforcement, removal from airlines, rejection from education. The work that they do is unfortunately still so necessary, as discrimination and bigotry towards the Arab community has increased over the past 4 challenging years. My favorite program of the ADCs is the Anthony Shadid internship program. That journalistic legend was actually an ADC intern. And the organization creates an incredible opportunity for young Arab leaders to get invaluable training in the center of the political universe, Washington, D.C. Listen, I know a lot of people think ADC is just a glorified singles convention for Arabs. It's true, it is. So if you're looking for a spouse, go to the next ADC convention, even if it's virtual, but make sure before you go that you get your DEBCA practice in. This is a competitive scene, single people, and if you don't know how to step ball change with a sword in your hand, you're probably gonna leave still single. So don't let anyone fool you about really ADC being about, leadership and anti-discrimination and interceding in anti-Arab legislation. It's really just a glorified Arab singles organization, which is the best reason for you to support it and for you to donate to make sure that ADC gets to be around for another 70 years, no, 100 years, inshallah. Happy anniversary, ADC.
Thank you so much, Maysoon, for those wonderful words. And I honestly had no idea that the conventions were singles events. I've been coming to them since I was in college, and I'm still single, so I'm not sure how well that works. But again, hopefully next year we will be able to meet in person, and if not, we are still looking forward to hosting a virtual conference depending on how this pandemic goes. This year we went through so many different things, and ADC, we worked on so many different things. It was an election year, and it was also a census year. And throughout the program, you're going to hear about all the wonderful things that our communities have done around a lot of these movements. So now we're going to go to see our Southern California chapters who have put together a montage of all of the work that they have done over the past year, whether it was Black Lives Matter protests, the census, voter registration, or just being Arab Americans in this pandemic and learning to live with these new circumstances.
One, two, three,
Thank you so much to our Southern California chapters in San Diego, Los Angeles, and Orange County. I'd like to personally thank also Doris and Talar, who are our California chapter staff, who are out there working for ADC and working with us here at National in Washington, D.C., and making sure that the work of ADC is spreading coast to coast. So ADC is celebrating its 40th anniversary. We have been around for 40 years, and when you think about that, that is quite a milestone. Specifically for an organization that celebrates Arab Americans and one that protects the rights of Arab Americans, we owe it all to so many people who stepped up when the time came in order to start an organization like ADC. Our next speaker is Mariam Saeed, who was an ADC founding member and is also the vice president of the Barenboim Said Orchestra. And she is also the widow, she's also the widow of the late Edward Said. Let's go to her for some remarks.
I would like to thank Samer Khalaf and the American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee, ADC, for inviting me to share my history and involvement with this important civil rights organization of American Arabs, founded in 1980 by Senator James Abu Rizq, an American Arab of Lebanese descent. In the late 1970s, an FBI sting operation dubbed as Abscam, and using bogus Arab sheikhs as decoys was uncovered. American Arabs were outraged. The bias against them was obvious, and Arab stereotyping was rampant. This propelled Senator James Abu Rizq to establish in 1980 this organization with a group of well-known American Arabs, whose aim was mainly to combat discrimination and to advocate a balanced U.S. policy in the Middle East. I was privileged to serve on ADC's board of directors twice. I was the only woman on the first board. Years later, at the end of the 20th century, I was again elected to the board. At that time, the president of ADC was a woman, and the women on the board constituted 1/4 of the members. The American Arab community rallied behind this organization from inception. It attracted professionals, businessmen, intellectuals, academics, politicians, and many young activists. This year marks the 40th anniversary of ADC, and I would like to remember Alex Odeh on this anniversary. Alex was a Palestinian young activist who believed in the peaceful resolution of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. Alex was the director of ADC's office in Los Angeles, California. He was an educated and knowledgeable man and a poet who joined ADC early on. His work was very effective. In 1985, Alex was killed one morning by a bomb that detonated as he opened the door of the ADC office. That day, he was scheduled to speak at a synagogue. Shortly after his death, the assassins were identified by law enforcement agencies as belonging to a militant Israeli group. However, no arrests were ever made, nor were they brought to trial. They remain at large as we speak, living in Israel. Norma, Alex's widow, was very brave. She carried the torch for a long time after his death. Her contribution was commendable. Alex was one of the first pillars whose work anchored this organization in the society. He was an example to us all, and I will always remember his loyalty and dedication. The American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee has withstood all the countercurrents in these 40 years and has achieved many victories. Its mission continues to inspire until this day. We still have a long way to go. Our voice as a community matters. It must be heard, and we must press on.
Thank you so much, Mariam. And her words couldn't be more true. Our words and our work do matter. And I want you again to remember why we're here this evening. ADC has been working tirelessly throughout this pandemic, bringing you up-to-date webinars on information that is helpful and encouraging and educating to our community. So please consider making a donation. You can go to adc.org/donate and make your donation there. We know that over 40 years we've had so many different employees, and some of them have stayed and some of them have gone. But we know that ADC would not be the organization today without those who came and served, no matter how little that time was. So now we would like to go to Nawaz Shora, who was working as part of the ADC legal staff for a while, for some of his remarks.
Hello, ADC. Congratulations on 40 years. What a magnificent accomplishment. The work you do is unlike any other work done by any other group. You're empowering and investing in the community, in its young talent, in its history, is parallel to none. I'm proud to have been part of that narrative for a little over a decade. I started as a legal intern back in 1999 and left in 2010 as legal director. What you do is what I used to lightheartedly call gardening, because we were planting seeds to nourish and nurture young trees, young Arab American trees, to blossom throughout society. And the positive imprint you leave, that's empowered us, all of us to leave, will always be. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the memories. And I look forward to the next 40 years. Have a great time.
Thank you so much, Nawab. So we all know that we wouldn't be here today without one man, the man who came to this vision and decided to start an organization back in 1980. A former senator from South Dakota, a man who decided because of his life experiences that he wanted to make sure Arab Americans had a voice and that we stood up against bigotry and profiling and stereotypes. We are very lucky to have a message tonight from Senator James Abu-Rizq, the founder of ADC.
Well, I used to be chairman of the ADC, American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee, back in the old days. And now today, I'm retired, relaxed, and I feel good. I saw what was happening with people of Arab descent, of which I am. And I just thought, this can't go on. So I began organizing a national organization called American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee. And it was designed to put an end to discrimination against people of Arab descent, which I was. And I traveled all over the country by myself with a little money that I got from raising money. And I went to villages and communities and cities around the country, calling people together, making a speech about how badly something like this organization is needed. And it worked very well, actually. People responded to it because they felt a need, as I did. I felt a need for it. What I saw was people of Arab descent being mistreated by the general public. And I thought, this really can't go on. We can't allow this to happen. So I would attack press outlets, television stations, radio stations, newspapers, whenever I saw wrong being done to these people. And I was able to attract an awful lot of people of Arab descent to help in this battle. I would attack press people who mistreated our people. I would attack newspaper people when they mistreated us. We were not awfully popular in the country at that time because some people were having too much fun attacking us, and I made that unpopular. And I gathered enough people around the country to agree with me. And we had people on our side like Danny Thomas, and Dick Shadyac was very prominent back in those days with us. He was a prominent lawyer out in Virginia. And we had other people who had joined, who saw what we were doing and had joined with us for a full 10 years around the country to different cities, different towns, making speeches to draw people toward our organization. And that was very successful for a number of years. Well, the biggest challenges have never changed. It's always people denouncing us because we're Arabs. And I learned how to stand up for the underdog as a result. So I thought in that respect that it was helpful to me to learn how to fight, because that's what I've had to do in politics. I'm not talking about fist fighting, I'm just saying learn how to stand up to people who try to brutalize me and my family and my people. And when somebody does a wrong toward people of Arab descent, criticize them, go after them, and explain why, so that regular Americans, non-Arab Americans, will understand why we're doing what we're doing and why they should join us. And that's happened a lot. We've had a lot of non-Arabs join us in what we're doing because they see the wrong in that and are happy to help out. I'd say the greatest pride is that the number of people we are able to bring in as members around the country. And I could go anywhere in the country and set up a speech or a meeting of some sort, and people would respond to that. And that made me feel very good. This new generation coming up has got to learn that the harder they work for the community, the better off their children will be as they grow up. ADC is still around, and even though we're short on money, and I'm told by Safarifka, who's now the chairman, that we're short on money, but we're still fighting. And that inspires me. It's still here because it's needed. It's the only answer I can give you on that. I'd like them to continue to support ADC, the American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee, because what we're doing is solidifying their future in this country of America. And we all love America very much because it has done so much for us. And we want to continue that.
Such powerful words from our founder here at ADC, Senator James Abu-Rizq. As an Arab American growing up in the U.S., I myself faced a lot of discrimination and stereotypes when I was in school. And I know that a lot of you probably feel the same way and probably experience a lot of the same things that I did. And it's nice to know that there's always been an organization out there that has protected us and been there for us in times of need. ADC has been such a wonderful organization over the years, fighting against stereotypes in film, in media, and making sure that our voices are heard, that we have a seat at the table, and that we're making sure that our stories are being told by us and not other people's versions of us. We have so much tonight, and we're not even halfway through this program. So I hope everybody is cozy at home with their snacks and is enjoying the evening. We are now going to take a nice break, and we are going to go and listen to Clarissa Bittar, who you heard at the beginning of this program, who is a classically trained oud musician who is going to play a piece for us. So I hope you enjoy. Absolutely beautiful, Clarissa. I'm always impressed when somebody knows how to play an instrument. I myself tried to learn the violin as a child and it just did not stick. Probably because I always forgot to practice and my parents would wake me up late at night and I just didn't want to do it. And so it's really nice to see all of this beautiful talent coming out of our community and celebrating our cultures and our traditions. So here at ADC, our staff has been a little overwhelmed with the pandemic, but it's always nice to know that when you're overwhelmed, that the board of your organization is understanding and supportive. And that is something that I can truly say about our board here at ADC. Whether it's speaking with us on webinars, connecting us to speakers, understanding the implications of this pandemic and making sure that we are staying safe at home, supporting us in any way that they know how. The ADC board has done such a tremendous job this year, helping us adjust to these changing times. So without further ado, I would like to turn it over to our board chair, Dr. Safa Rifka.
Good evening. I want to welcome you to the ADC Alex Odeh Gala 2020 via Zoom. Traditionally, ADC has been doing this face-to-face in California. However, with the atmosphere that it is now, that's the safest thing to do. As you have noticed, things have changed. Our life have changed. Our way we communicate with each other have changed. However, ADC's job has not changed. During all these times, ADC was working around the clock to protect our community and to uphold its civil rights. Our legal department has been doing its best in that function. I want to let you know that last year ADC has opened an office in California, and Doris Bitar is our coordinator there, and I will let Samer talk more about that. I want to thank our Samer and our executive office for a great job that they have been doing. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the board of directors. Just to let you know that these board of directors are elected from our community, and they are the finest men and women that our community can produce. They are selfless, they are focused, and they are dedicated with time, effort, and money to secure the success of our organization. Alex Odeh was a man of principle, and he was a family man. He was a man who's doing what is right. However, the assassins got to him and assassinated him in one of these dark moments in our histories. However, ADC will not rest till it will bring his perpetrators to justice. I want to thank one person here. I want to thank Ray Giallo, who has been attending ADC's convention year in, year out, forever. I want to thank you, Ray, for your guidance and for your commitment. Once again, I would welcome you to this gala. I will ask you for your support so that ADC will continue the great work and the great accomplishment.
Thank you so much, Dr. Safa. As I said, we are so lucky to be able to have adjusted to this pandemic, and we are always so grateful for all the support we have as a community and as an organization. Our next speaker is not a stranger to the Arab American community. She serves as the Michigan 12th District Congressional is someone that has been a friend to Arab Americans and has supported the Arab American community within Michigan and beyond as she serves in Congress. So without further ado, we'll go to Congresswoman Debbie Dingell.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alia Haddad. I'm an attorney with the Los Angeles City Attorney's Office. And more importantly, for purposes of this video, I'm a former intern. I interned in 1996. I was a student at UCLA, and I interned between my junior and my senior year. I was a political science and international relations major, so it seemed like a natural place to apply for the internship. And I have to say that it far exceeded any expectation that I had. I was able to attend congressional hearings, embassy events, meet with national leaders and other community organizations, and perhaps most importantly, bond with my fellow interns and get into some shenanigans with them. Can't believe that it was so long ago, and I can't believe that ADC has hit such a significant 40th year milestone. In my view, given what has transpired in our country over the last several years, an organization like ADC is more important than ever. It's important for members specific to our community to be able to have a safety net, an organization where we know that our specific needs and rights are addressed. So thank you, ADC, and congratulations on your 40th anniversary.
Well, there's bound to be technical difficulties and some mistakes when you're doing this virtually, so I apologize. That was not Congresswoman Debbie Dingell. That was Alia Haddad Teagle, who was an ADC intern in 1996, and we appreciate all of the work that she did while she was here and all of the work that she's currently doing in her career. So before we go to our next speaker, we got some donations, which I would like to recognize. So if you are donating tonight, please put in your donations into the Facebook chat, and we will be sure to recognize you. So we want to thank the following donors for their contribution this evening: Nader Barakat, Nabil Ili Khouri, Salim Arakat, Maha Juwaid, and Sohail Tubia. So thank you so much for your contributions. Thank you so much for your support. We know that our work cannot continue without actual financial assistance. I mean, it's nice to have your thoughts and your wishes and all that good stuff, but we all know that in order for us to be able to really truly do our work, we do need that financial contribution. So thank you again to all of our contributors. Again, you can go to adc.org/donate and make your donation tonight. So our next speaker is someone that is recognized in our community. Started off as a comedian, is a friend of ADC, and now hosts an XM Sirius radio show. Please help me welcome Dean Abidallah.
Everyone, I'm Dean Obidallah, and thank you, ADC, for asking me to say a few words. And I really wish we could all be there together, because I just have to get out of my apartment. Yep, it's all about me. But no, I really hope that next year, inshallah, we will all be together. We can laugh together and speak together and chat with each other. We have some great speakers tonight. And I just wanted to touch on one area that I think is so fundamentally important. It's an area that ADC has supported from the beginning. That's the arts. And not just stand-up comedy, all of the arts, because this tells our story. This shares with our fellow Americans who we are. Detailed, nuanced, fully developed stories about who we are as a person. And you can do it through comedy, TV, film, spoken word, music, and ADC has been there backing it all up. You know, years ago, Katie Couric, trying to be helpful, said that Muslims and Arabs need our own version of the Cosby Show, which right now we want nothing Cosby related. But the point was well taken. When you really look at studies, and there's been studies on the Cosby Show, it documented that the Cosby family on that TV show was often the first black family ever in the home of certain white families. They were telling the story of their community. And interestingly enough, they also studies of the black American experience and how they're seeing the Cosby family on air made them view things slightly differently. One was how Hollywood had horribly depicted them, but it also gave them a sense of pride in a way. So often Hollywood had depicted the black community as drug dealers and pimps and criminals, very similar to the way they've depicted Arabs through the years as terrorists, as nefarious, sinister sheikhs, to women being silent and being belly dancers, to being props. So telling our story is important. It's also, oddly enough, interrelated in the civil rights work of the ADC, in that if people don't know us, and most Americans, it might seem surprising, most Americans don't know an Arab American. That's statistically accurate. They don't know us. It's easier to demonize us. It's easier to justify discriminating against us. Even, not even government, but employers doing things subtly. But if people know who we are, and because we're a small community, we need to do it through the arts and the media, it changed that. It changes the paradigm. It makes people go like, well, they can't all be bad. I've met that person through television or through seeing them in the arts. And it's really an iceberg of misconception. That's the way I view it. And we chip away at it little by little. You know, in time, in the younger generations, it's vastly different. They're raised in an experience that is more multicultural, multi-religious, multi-ethnic. It's more of a celebration. But they're still a few years away from being the adults in this country that I think are going to be our leaders. So for now, we need the work of ADC. It's so vitally important, not just fighting for civil rights, but their support of the arts. And I've got to tell you, honestly, you know, when Maysoon Zaid and I, and Maysoon's speaking tonight as well, started the New York Arab American Comedy Festival in 2003, just 2 years after 9/11, we looked around for Arab American groups to help us get the word out about this fledgling idea of a comedy fest. And ADC was there. It was even before Sam was involved. They were there and they helped us. They helped us get the word out. And over the years, when Samar actually lived in New Jersey, he was actually involved in helping us produce the festival. And right through this 17th annual festival we just had a month ago, ADC was helping us get the word out across the nation to people, because it was online this time, not just in New York, about joining and supporting us. So look, the arts are so fundamentally important. I wish more people in our community would get involved in all facets of the arts. It can work out well for you. But I know there's the pressure, doctor, lawyer, engineer. If that's your passion, that's what you should do. There's no dispute. You want to be a business person, that's your passion, that's what you should do. But what I would ask is support the Arab Americans in the arts. Support the Arab Americans telling our story through various ways of doing it. They are actually on some level civil rights activists as well as entertainers. So, you know, thank you, ADC, on having me here at this gala. Next year, inshallah, we'll be together. When I say inshallah, I mean inshallah really, not inshallah maybe, or we'll see what happens. But thank you for tuning in, and thank you for being part of the gala and supporting ADC's fundamentally important work for our community and for America as a whole, because the idea of an injustice anywhere is a justice that affects all of us, as Martin Luther King has said, absolutely true. Thanks. Have a great evening.
Thank you so much, Dean. And Dean makes a really important point. I think it's very important as Arab Americans that we do support the arts of Arab Americans. You know, we have so many people who are actors, musicians, writers, and I know that a lot of Arab families prefer the title of doctor, lawyer, engineer. My family was the same way. But I think it's extremely important that if we want those stories to be told, that we are telling them ourselves. And this year, we actually held many webinars that covered the topics of theater, writing, music, and we celebrated those things because they're a very important part of our heritage as Arabs and as Arab Americans. The link to donate, actually I was corrected off screen, is actually support.adc.org. So if you go to that link, you will be able to make your donation. And please let us know in the comments if you would like to be recognized after making your donation. So now, I would like to introduce Congresswoman Debbie Dingell again, this time for real, and she's going to speak to us about her work on a lot of issues in the House that have helped support Arab Americans.
Greetings to everyone, and I'm so sorry we can't gather in person today, but I'm very honored to speak about an organization and cause that's been near and dear to me for many years. For 4 decades, the Arab American Anti-Discrimination Committee has fought tirelessly for justice in our communities. You have built unbreakable coalitions in neighborhoods like Dearborn, my hometown. You've educated people of all generations about how to reject discrimination and choose unity, empathy, and compassion. You've advocated for policies at the federal, state, and local level to protect civil rights and liberties, not just for Arab Americans, but for all Americans. You have stood with our Arab brothers and sisters in courtrooms across the country, demanding justice. And you do this work because you know what this country can be when it lives up to its promise of equality and justice for all. Because you believe in our capacity to change, to be better versions. Keep working towards that perfect union. And as we do that, we will deliver on the promise we have as America. So to the Arab American Anti-Discrimination Committee and to all the leadership, staff, and volunteers who have built into it what it is today, thank you for all you've done and never compromising on your values or your vision. It's been an incredible 40 years, and I look forward to the next 40. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman. Now, if none of you have ever been to Dearborn, I implore you to go and just enjoy the city. As she said, it represents the highest percentage of Arab Americans in the United States, and it's filled with so many beautiful restaurants and shops, and it really makes you feel like you're home. It was one of my favorite cities to go to growing up in Ohio. It was a very short drive away from us, and we used to go there many times over the weekend and make sure that we indulge in some sweets and some really, really good food. So we all know why we're here tonight, and we know that this year has brought challenges, and we know that, you know, our gala for Alex Odeh is usually held in California, and this year we decided to combine both our galas into one. Alex Odeh is somebody that we continue to uplift and work for in order to continue his legacy and the sacrifices that he made. Just a few updates on the Alex Odeh case, because we know how important this is. It's been 35 years, and we know that our community still struggles and wants justice for what happened to him. We are working hard to make sure that the case has been reopened and that they are looking into bringing his murderers to justice. We recently attended a parole hearing for one of the men that was identified as one of the bombers, Robert Manning, who is in jail serving time for another crime, to make sure that the parole board could hear the reasons why he should not be paroled. We work with his daughter Helena to make sure that we stay up to date and that we support her and her family in any way that we can. Our hearts go out to Helena and the rest of her family, and we will always remember Alex Odeh, and we will uplift him and the work that he did for us and continue to fight for justice. So now I would like to go to his daughter Helena, who will be giving a few remarks for this evening.
Good evening and welcome to the 2020 Alex Odeh Virtual Memorial Gala. Just wanted to say a few words on behalf of my family. We appreciate the ADC and the community for all the support they have provided my family and I on behalf of my father. Although it's been difficult not having him here with us, it's comforting to know that the ADC and the community has been by our side for the last 35 years. 2020 has been a difficult year. I hope everyone can stay happy, healthy, and safe, and we will see you next year for 2021.
Thank you so much, Helena. We know how difficult this is for you and your family, and we are sending you all so much love and light and strength. Now we would like to present a certificate of recognition from Congressman Mike Levine from California to Helena and her family in recognition of her father's legacy and the fight for justice. This Certificate of Special Congressional Recognition is presented to Norma, Helena, Samia, and Susan of the Odeh family in recognition of your living legacy of fighting for an end to discrimination against Arab Americans, in honor of your father, Alex Odeh, a man of peace who sought to build bridges. Well, this evening, we still have so many wonderful speakers ahead, so I hope you guys are enjoying what you have seen so far. And again, I have to tell you, it is so odd for me right now to be presenting in an empty room and talking to myself. I really wish that we could be together and that I could see everyone's faces and be able to smile at you and feel your energy, but I'm imagining it up here. So let's get going to our next speaker. And this is a woman that we all love. She is a fearless Palestinian woman fighting for Palestinians, and not only that, her constituents in Detroit. We are going to go to Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, who's going to have some words on Alex Odeh, as well as our continued efforts to fight for all of our collective civil rights.
Salams everyone, ahlan wa sahlan. It's Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib. Thank you all so much. I know this has been very hard to try to come together. I know I miss the human contact. This global pandemic is more, challenging for communities like mine and even globally in other communities that were already in survivor mode. So I want to thank all of you that have already been on the front lines and pushing for us, the government, and others to really show up for our neighbors that are struggling. I know that this is very important to me specifically, personally, as someone that was 11 years old when Alex Odeh was assassinated, and now in my 40s as a United States Congresswoman. One of the things that I see continue on is this push and bullying and intimidation to silence people like me and like you all, like Alex, that is speaking up for Palestinian human rights. I want to urge us to please continue this fight. I know Alex would want it, and I know more than ever now being there for the last 2 years how important our work is. It is working. I know that sometimes it doesn't feel like it, but I can tell you from Detroit to Gaza, I promise you, we are fighting for social justice for everyone. Everyone deserves equality. Everyone deserves human dignity in this world. And there's nothing that will stop us because we have the truth on our side, and we are doing it with so much love for the, not only Palestinians, but all those impacted by this. But one thing that we do is speak truth to power. We're Palestinians. There's nothing else we can do. I was raised this way, and I know when this uprising started for Black Lives Matter, and I saw the Palestinian youth, and I saw Arab youth, and so many folks from different ethnicities, races, and faith, it gave me so much hope. Because, an African-American Baptist pastor in my district said that we are not a country that is divided, but we're disconnected. And so I hope as we continue this, we think of Alex Odeh and think of the movement that is happening. And I know he would want us to continue pushing back against all forms of oppression, including those right here in our backyard that try to silence people like us that speak up. So thank you all so much. I give you all strength and pray that you are safe and that you are well. You will always have a partner and a fighter in the United States Congress.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman Rashida. I honestly look up to her so much just from her early days of serving in the state legislature, but also as a Palestinian woman. And I think it's so important that we have these types of women and types of leaders in our community to help uplift us, especially on those days when we feel like a lot of the work that we're doing is never enough or that what we're doing doesn't make a difference. It's nice to have people like her who are showing us that the work is valid and it's true and it will work. We just have to keep going. So we talked a lot about our coalitions, and we have a lot of people who have worked with us over the last year, specifically because it is a census year and it was an election year. We worked with so many different organizations that represent other minorities, and not just Arab Americans, but Asian Americans, Black Americans, immigrants, and other marginalized communities. And it's so important that we had those coalition partners because, there's strength in numbers and it helps so much to be able to work with others in order to accomplish our goals. Our next speaker is someone who represents an organization that we worked with not just on the ground, but also in the courts, making sure that we were fighting for immigrant rights and making sure that every single person is represented in this country, making sure that every minority was counted in the census and that every community gets the resources that they need. So please help me welcome John Yang, the President and Executive Director of Asian Americans Advancing Justice.
Congratulations to the American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee on your 40th anniversary. My name is John Yang. I'm the President and Executive Director of Asian Americans Advancing Justice, AAJC. I am proud to have worked with your President, Samir Caleb, on a number of issues, as well as your staff on issues that matter to our community. I am extremely proud of our solidarity with you. We're in lockstep and collaborating on the race and ethnicity questions regarding the census and pushing for necessary language coverage to ensure that all of our communities would be fairly and accurately counted. We had so many challenges for the 2020 census, particularly around privacy, and especially in light of the fact that this administration sought to include a citizenship question on the census. Our partnership with ADC was critical to pushing back against the citizenship question, but was just as critical with respect to privacy. ADC was one of the original signatories to the confidentiality pledge that was signed by over 750 organizations and individuals, pledging to litigate, pledging to do whatever was necessary to protect our community's information if the Bureau sought to do anything that would compromise that confidentiality. When we introduced our podcast, Count on Your Census, Samir was one of our first guests to talk about privacy concerns and how best to protect that information. In addition to the census, we have worked together on immigration issues, in particular in supporting the no Muslim ban and other issues affecting our immigrant communities. We have had so many challenges in the past 4 years. We must work together going into the future to undo all of that damage, but also to protect and project proactive policies in favor of our immigrant communities. I look forward to working with ADC, hand in hand with Advancing Justice AAJC, as we march forward towards justice over the next 40 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, John. And again, coalition building is an integral part of the work that we do here at ADC. It's extremely important for us to have these coalitions, and we are so very grateful for all of these other organizations that have been able to step up in the last 4 years, specifically with this administration, to help us when we fight in the courts and in the streets. Before I go to the next speaker, we got a couple more donations that I would like to recognize. Dr. Safarifka and Faris Shilmaran, thank you so much for your donation. Hopefully that will help fund my raise next year. I'm just kidding, it's okay. We want to make sure that the money goes to actual resources to help our community. Our next speaker is another one of ADC's past employees. Again, like I said, over 40 years we've accrued so many of these employees, and over the years so many have come and gone and learned valuable skills working here in our offices and making sure that they are making an impact on the Arab American community. So with that, I'd like to go to Mohammed Mahmoudi for his remarks on his time at ADC.
Hey everyone, it's Mohammed. Just wanted to say congratulations ADC on 40 years. That is a fantastic achievement. I still remember when I first interned in the DC office back in 2011. I was a aspiring law student, a 1L, and 9 years later I can still look back and see how those early days of working in an office with the legal director and 3 or 4 other interns really directed and shaped my career today. So keep up the good work and congratulations again.
Thank you so much for those words. And if you want to be one of these people that we recognize in the next 40th anniversary gala, then make sure you go to our website and find out how you can be an intern. I think it's extremely valuable experience, and it's such a wonderful opportunity for young Arab Americans to learn about the work that we do, how important it is and how impactful it is for our community. So now, again, I hope you guys are enjoying the evening. We're going to take a little break from our speeches, and we're going to go back to Clarissa Bitar, this time accompanied by her father, Nabil, who is going to be singing as she plays the oud.
بالهوى ومر النسيم قلبي بروحي وصلك ويرجعك قلبي بروحي وصلك ويرجعك ساعة نزولك في البابور لا تنزعي قلبي شراعك والبحر من مدمعي ساعة نزولك في البابور لا تنزعي قلبي شراعك والبحر من مدمعي ضل اذكريني في غيابك وارجعي ضل اذكريني في غيابك وارجعي قولي لي قلبي وهو يبقى يتبعك قولي لي قلبي وهو يبقى يتبعك يا مسافرة في البحر جاي ودعك حمل سلامي للهوى ودي معك لكن بخاف من الهوى ومر النسيم قلبي بروحي وصلك ويرجعك قلبي بروحي وصلك ويرجعك روح بسلامي يا حياتي بخاطرك اكتبيلي إن كان جيت بخاطرك خاطرك عالشط فوق الرمل قاعد ناطرك لا ترجع من البحر ترجع معك لا ترجع من البحر ترجع معك يا مسافرة في البحر جاي ودعك حمل سلامي للهوى ودي معك لكن بخاف من الهوى ومر النسيم قلبي بروحي وصلك ويرجعك قلبي بروحي وصلك ويرجعك يا مسافرة.
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much, Clarissa and Nabil, for that beautiful music. Again, it is so important to celebrate our arts as Arab Americans. You know, if this was a different time, I would have hoped we would have had maybe a Depka team up here, you know, bringing everybody to their feet and dancing, but hopefully next year we'll be able to do that. Before we go on to our next speaker, we have a few more donations to recognize. I would like to thank Abid Awad for his donation, Ammar Kaddan for his, and Osama Al Masri. Thank you, all three of you, so much for donating and supporting ADC tonight. You still have time to donate. Make sure you go to support.adc.org, make your donation, and let us know in the comments if you would like to be recognized. We appreciate whatever you can give us so that we can continue this important work that we do. So again, going back to the coalition building that we've been doing here at ADC, we are very proud members of an organization called the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights, which acts as an umbrella organization that brings together hundreds of different organizations, both national and local, to work on different issues, going from education to immigration, hate crimes, the census, voter protection, and so much more. During the pandemic, we've had so many meetings discussing ways that we can support our communities, making sure that we are part of the legislative writing of bills that are offering support, and making sure that we are working together, organization with organization, and making sure that we are giving everyone the information and the support that they need. Our next speaker is the President and CEO of the Leadership Conference on Human and Civil Rights, Vanita Gupta.
What an incredible occasion this is to celebrate the American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee's 40th anniversary. Samar, thank you for your fearless leadership. ADC is tirelessly defending the right of Arab Americans to live safely and with dignity. You're protecting the rights of immigrant workers and pushing to eliminate draconian enforcement tactics at the border. You're fighting for voting rights. And in case after case, you're courageously demanding the enforcement of civil rights. For that and more, I thank and congratulate the entire staff and board on this special anniversary. We are living through a year of real struggle and reckoning, and also one of real hope and promise. We have watched our nation's essential workers hold this country together, delivering food, stocking shelves, taking care of our sick, keeping our government systems up and running. And people from all walks of life organized and marched for justice and police accountability. More than 160 million voters cast their ballots this year, shattering records even when made to face long lines and other deliberate obstacles to voting. Voters across race, place of origin, and zip code turned out to move our nation toward justice. This is democracy in action, and this is the will of the people. But we didn't get here overnight. It's the effort of groups like ADC that have shaped this new day for our nation. Voters were energized and advocates were organized. The Leadership Conference Coalition, including ADC and so many of you tuned in today, spent years getting out the vote and expanding access to the ballot box in the states. We litigated, we mobilized, and we organized across state and national partners to combat voter suppression. The election system worked because we refused to give up. But despite the progress made by advocates like you, there's no denying that we live in challenging times. This pandemic and its mishandling continue to rain devastation on our nation. It's a devastation that lands with particular force on Black, Brown, Native American, and low-income communities. The forces of racial exclusion and suppression still pervade the political process. And we're witnessing a resurgence of white supremacist violence that threatens our communities. Too many people in this country feel unwelcome and unsafe in their own homes. We have to end the scourge of anti-immigrant rhetoric. We have worked so hard with ADC and so many other organizations to protect the census and ensure that all of our communities count, even in the face of unprecedented partisan attacks to seek to undermine it. We have a long road ahead, but I'm so hopeful. Never forget that the work of the civil and human rights community is bigger than any one person, any one organization, or any one community. Our coalition was created precisely for times like these. We were forged to fight the intractable together. When I look back on the unprecedented year we're in, it's clear that the promise of our nation is not self-fulfilling. We must constantly fight for it to endure. It's an honor to be in that fight with you. Thank you, ADC, and have a great evening.
Thank you. I myself can't wait till we go back to the pre-pandemic days where we were able to actually meet in person with all these different organizations at the Leadership Conference offices just down the street from our office. It is always so nice and empowering to be amongst people. A lot of us really miss that in-person feeling of being social and working on things together. I don't know if many of you know this, but this year ADC, we worked on voter rights and voter protection at a significant level, and we were able to mobilize and reach out to over 400,000 Arab Americans, encouraging them to go out and vote in this election. And we do know that Arab American turnout this year was the largest that it's ever been, which helped turn the state blue. So we are very, very proud of the work that we do and proud of the work that we are able to offer our communities in order to make this country a better place for all of us. Now we have come to the time for our keynote speaker this evening. I am extremely honored to be able to for Minnesota's 4th District. She's a champion for Palestinian rights. She has been there for our community, and she has specifically been there defending Palestinian children in detention by Israel. And tonight she is going to speak to us about the work that she's been doing in office and how we can help and how much it has impacted a lot of the fight for the Palestinian human rights in Congress. We are so lucky to have champions like her on our side, understanding that as Americans, we have family members who sometimes suffer and are not in this country. And she has always been such a great advocate for Arab Americans. And so without further ado, please help me column.
Good evening. I'm Congresswoman Betty McCollum, and I represent St. Paul, Minnesota, and the surrounding communities in the U.S. House of Representatives. It's my honor to join this evening's gala celebrating 40 years of vote and protect the rights of Arab Americans and all the people of descent of the Arab countries living here in the United States. How wonderful it would be conversation, but because of the COVID-19 crisis, we must protect ourselves, our families, and our communities from this deadly virus. Even in the midst of to this mission on behalf of Americans of Arab descent to fight against discrimination, profiling, injustice. It's your commitment, but it's also a commitment that protects my rights. And injustice targeting anyone's wrong. Targeting someone because of their ethnicity, their race, their religion, gender, or sexual orientation, it's wrong. Arab Americans continue to experience hate and discrimination and intolerance and injustice. And to me, this is un-American, and it must be recognized and confronted. And that's why ADC's work is essential. As a we need your voice, your advocacy, your leadership if we're going to make America stronger and safer and more successful. Every American must feel confident in their ability to contribute to their community and our country. And that's why ADC is critical to advancing not only the interests of urban American communities, but advancing civil rights for everyone. I applaud your work and your tireless advocacy for civil rights here at home. Tonight, I was invited to speak about important issues that I'm working on in Congress, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to share my work. As a member of the U.S. House of Representatives, I'm one voice and one vote representing a constituency of 700,000 Minnesotans. I'm also one of a small group of members in Congress who vocally support the rights of Palestinian people. The people of Palestine deserve peace, security, human rights, and the rights of self-determination. They also deserve a future filled with hope, opportunity, and prosperity. My efforts in Congress to promote Palestinian rights started when, in 2013, a UNICEF report was brought to my attention, and it was entitled, Children in Israeli Military Detention. The report stated, the ill treatment of Palestinian children in the Israeli military detention system appears to be widespread, systematic, and institutionalized. I trust UNICEF, and their report opened my eyes. Israel's systematic abuse and torture of children has been going on for years. Thousands of Palestinians in the occupied West Bank, ages 12 to 17, have been taken from their homes in the middle of the night by Israeli soldiers. They are interrogated without parents or lawyers present, emotionally, psychologically, and physically abused, and then held for weeks and months in pretrial detention, often unlawfully transferred to prisons and detention centers inside Israel. Israeli military courts are not independent or impartial. That are active duty or reserve duty officers in the military in Israel. In this context, regardless of guilt or innocence, Palestinian children overwhelmingly plead guilty because it's the fastest way to get out of the system. International law. International juvenile justice standards demand that detention be used only as a measure of last resort. The best interest of children must be primary consideration in all actions involving a person under 18 years old. When it becomes normal for youth to be targeted for arrest, interrogations, held in pretrial custodial detention, there is no justice, and the system is not just. Israeli system of military child detention is brutal, it's cruel, and it's unnecessary. It is a weapon of military occupation that imposes a collective trauma and control over Palestinian families. It is a blatant violation of international humanitarian law. And it has nothing to do with Israeli security. In 2017, and most recently in 2019, Congress entitled Promoting Human Rights for Palestinian Children Living Under Israeli Military Occupation. This legislation conditions U.S. security assistance to any country, including Israel, and prohibits U.S. dollars from being used to support or enable the military detention of Palestinian children. This is the first bill ever introduced in Congress to promote or protect Palestinian rights, and it will likely never pass. But the bill does have 26 courageous co-sponsors and the support of nearly 50 human along with faith-based organizations representing Jews and Muslims and Christians. And we are using this bill to organize and activate civil society, to inform and pressure lawmakers at a time when systemic and disparities are priority issues right here at home. Another issue of great concern is the threat of further Israeli annexation of Palestinian lands, a centerpiece of Israeli politics for some time. Annexation continues to be a direct threat to Palestinians and their right to self-determination. Because of the Trump administration's role in enabling this threat, in August of 2020, I introduced a bill called the Israeli Annexation Recognition Act. The bill prohibits any U.S. government agency or department in the area of the West Bank that's occupied and annexed by Israel. While groundbreaking, my actions are actually quite limited. I'm simply working to ensure that our obligations, both under U.S. and international law, are respected and upheld. These two bills are intended to send a clear message, a message to my colleagues, to the American people, and to the Palestinian people. In Congress, where Palestinian rights are ignored, I want the world to know that there are American political leaders who respect the rights and dignity of the Palestinian people. Palestinians dream for freedom, justice and equality and self-determination, and those dreams are legitimate. Every Palestinian mother and father want a life free from military occupation and systemic discrimination for their children, and every Palestinian's child's life is precious. Soon we will have a new U.S. president in the White House, and that new administration will restore American leadership in the world. And I will be pushing hard to rebuild trust along with a renewed commitment and tangible actions by the United States to promote, protect, and defend the Palestinian people, Palestinian land, and Palestinian rights. Israeli military occupation is not about security. It's about destroying hope for Palestinian future. And I will never stop working for peace, justice, equality, and self-determination for the people in Palestine, around the world, and here at home. I want both Palestinian children and Israeli children and all the children to have a promise of a bright future. Thank you for allowing me to join you tonight. Thank you for all the important work you do. And please count me in as an ally and a friend in Congress. And congratulations once again to ADC on 40 years of remarkable service and success. Thank you. Good night.
Well, thank you so much, Congresswoman Betty McCollum. Again, I could not think of anyone who's more of a champion to Arab Americans and Palestinians than her. She's worked tirelessly. She has faced attacks for speaking out for Palestinian human rights. And it is so wonderful to hear how resilient she is. So let's make sure that we always thank her. We reach out to her office and thank her and her staff for all of the work that they have been doing for our community. Well, we've got a few more donations that I would like to recognize. I'd like to thank Jenna Bashroush, Diana Shamas, James Rave, Donna Baranski-Walker, Katya Bashroush, Duat Taha, and Tawfiq Barqawi. We really appreciate all of your support. We know that we can't continue this work without your donations and your help, and also your trust in us as an organization to be able to use these contributions to help our communities and sustain the work that we do. Well, that is it for us tonight this evening. Once again, I want to thank you all for joining us from the comfort of your homes as we battle this pandemic. We hope that you are keeping your families and your communities safe. We pray that everyone in your family is healthy. You're taking all the necessary precautions. We want to make sure that next year we're able to meet in person. So please make sure to reach out to your neighbors. Let's help each other during this very trying time. Again, I'd like to thank our sponsors for this evening, the New Levant Foundation, Jeff Boshar of Bay Financial Associates, and the Law Office of Howard L. Stovall. We are so lucky to have wonderful supporters. And I myself would personally like to thank the staff who has worked behind the scenes with me all year long. My face is the one you usually see on the webinars. I'm the one hosting this evening, but I can't do this work alone. And so I would like to thank Samir and Abid, Nabil, Doris, Talar, and Nahla for all of the work that they have been doing to help me put this together this evening, to make sure that we are giving you all of the information that you need, sending out the communications, and making sure that we are empowering our Arab American community as we battle through this pandemic. We are very much looking forward to next year. We're hoping that we will be able to meet in person. Thank you all once again for joining us this evening. Appreciate all of your support, and we will see you soon. Have a great night.